Right, a very warm welcome. Thank you all very much for keeping with us in this conversation. I'm seeing your tweets coming through. We'll be going through to those questions. But just before the break, I did raise an issue and the concern that maybe South Africans are having, especially seeing images of things that have been happening in France, in Germany, and other parts of the world where there's this perceived increase in terror threats and people connected to IS. And it looks like it may have happened in this country. We don't know yet. It's under investigation. But let me put it to you, Lieutenant General. Are we seeing perhaps the beginnings, or should we be concerned that terror threats may be visiting us? We had not so long ago certain embassies raising alarm and despondency, I think, warning of terror threats. And now we have people in custody linked to so-called terror threats. So just tell us where we are in terms of that. Maybe you want to answer that?
Let me deal with that issue.
All right.
Yes, as you know, Peter, there was a terror alert from the Americans. Government responded. As the security forces, we responded. We did say that that which they were raising is not new to us. We were following intelligence, and we do not want to make people in our country to panic for nothing. The situation is under control. The two people that have been arrested were under investigation for some time, and we got to the point where they were arrested and they are before the court. We will appeal that we leave that process to the courts to pronounce, and not continue to be creating that panic amongst our people. We think that as the security forces, the situation is under control. We can't say there are no threats, because when you see what is happening all over, you need to say, what is our situation here? And we have presented our plans, our readiness in dealing with matters of that nature. And we are confident as a country that we will manage the situation.
Okay, all right. Let's go back to our tables. And table 16, Jackson Simon is there. Jackson, what's your question?
Thank you, Peter. Morning, Minister and the panel. My name is Jackson Simon. I wanted to get the views both from the Minister and the National Commissioner in terms of how they see the building of bridges between the private security sector and the police. Because these security workers are the first contact to the criminal in most cases. And as we know, their powers of arrest are limited to that of a private citizen, and which then makes them to be more vulnerable to the criminals. And in some situation, you will then get that where they react on crime, police will then climb down on them instead of the criminals. And the criminals walk free on the street while they are in jail, attempting to act on the criminals. And these sometimes result even to these workers being demoralized and become just a must stand by, even where the crime is committed in their presence.
Okay, all right. I'm going to take a couple more, so just make a note of that one. Caroline Mulawa is on table number 1.
Good morning to you all, and thank you for this opportunity. My question is addressed to the Acting National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Phahlane. I would like to find out which measures are taken into consideration to ensure that the police officers are safe while on duty, while protecting others, especially on the 3rd of August, taking into consideration the current violence and killings due to the upcoming elections. Thank you.
Okay, and then table 9 will find Mpho. Table number 9. Okay. If you could stand up, Mpho, we'll get the... There we go. Stand up. At Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle. Hashtag TNA BizBrief if you're at home, and I'm going to start picking up on some of the notes that you're sending me in a couple of seconds.
And the Acting National Commissioner and all officers present here in accordance with your seniority. My name is Mpho and I'm the President of the South African Policing Union. I rise on the issue of murders in South Africa. South Africa is ranked number 8 in the world, and every day 49 people are killed. And I think the current Acting National Commissioner has got the capacity to manage policing in our country. Don't you think, Commissioner, that this is the time, now that you have to consider establishing specialized units to deal with specific crimes, including murders?
Okay. All right, let's deal with those 3 questions. The first one, the security companies are feeling a little bit like a stepchild, where they could be playing a greater role. They're highly trained people, but they feel like that they're not participating as much as they possibly could. How are we building the bridges?
Just 2 things about it. The first one, I don't remember a situation where, when members of our citizenry effect a citizen arrest, police arrest them instead of the suspect. Now, however, the issue here that we probably need to look at, there is a need, and I would really want to encourage that, the question of an engagement between the police service and, for instance, security operators on the one hand, to look at possible ways and means and areas of cooperation, for an example. But I think we should also be very clear, even in that very same engagement, when we deal with the question of a cooperative sort of arrangement, that we have 2 different sort of statutes that actually inform both the formation and the operation of these particular entities on the one hand, and therefore that should also be taken into account, so that the question of roles is not fudged. That which we must do as a police, we should not one day turn around and say, no, but this is what the private security guard must do. It shouldn't be like that. We, broadly speaking, have appealed to our society to work with us, members of the community and so on, and therefore private security is also part of the South African community and stuff like that. So all we need to do is to then sit and look at how do we work around issues of cooperation between the 2 institutions, police on the one hand and private security on the other hand, and so on, without fudging the roles and competencies as we have them, for instance, as the police service.
Okay. How do you make your police officers safer? I mean, it's a dangerous job, but is there things that you can do to make sure they have a measure of safety?
Thanks, Peter. Let me first add on to what the minister responded to on the security. More and more people are overstepping their boundaries, and I think we must guard against that at all costs. There is no intention to privatize the police in South Africa. The police mandate is clearly articulated in the Constitution. Security people must play their role in securing the area where they are. We have got no reason not to be working together. When we talk about visibility, security plays a part in that regard. So, as the minister said, the powers to effect arrest, a citizen arrest, cannot be taken away from the security. But I think we need to be working together and not go to an extent of the powers of the police to be given to everyone, because then we don't have a reason to exist. In as far as the killing of the police, attacks on the police, we are on record as having said that we considered it to be an attack on the authority of the state. We did say that we are not going to pronounce on the details of what measures we have put in place. But what is encouraging is that which we are doing, we are beginning to see it paying some dividends, that there is a scale down in that regard. But also what is more encouraging is that those that kill the police are within short turnaround times, arrested in the Northwest Hartbeespoort 2 weeks ago. An officer was killed. 2 days, in actual fact, within the 48 hours, 7 people were arrested. All those firearms were found. And by the way, while I'm talking about that, there was a report of firearms and grenades from the naval base in the Western Cape, Simonstown, which was in the media a day or two ago. We have effected an arrest. We have recovered all those firearms and grenades. I'm mentioning that because this will be some of those that will be used in the killing and attack of the police. So on this one, we must just work together, that we do not allow citizens to be attacking the police. It also goes with the question that was raised on Tshwane. Is Tshwane going to be safe? Yes, it's going to be safe. Okay. What you must do as a Tshwane citizen, refrain from participating in actions that are going to make Tshwane unsafe, and encourage those that were to participate to go and exercise their democratic right and vote. The last question on the murders, we have, as the police, prioritized the murders within our plans. We continue to dedicate the capacity in that regard. We will continue to put resources there, and as and when the situation demands that there be a specific unit established for that, we will pronounce. But at this stage, we would want to intensify our efforts in thoroughly investigating those cases, but also in preventing, because we can't just be focusing on the investigation part. Prevention is very important. Thus, we are taking out of circulation the illegal firearms, which in the main are a contributing factor in the attacks.
All right. Okay, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk about these new graduates that are coming into the service. How are they selected? How are they trained? And are we creating a better quality police service in the way that we're recruiting and training? All of that coming up after this.